What's up? What's up? What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Code of Confidence podcast with your girl, Destiny Inspire, the empowerment juggernaut, the confidence queen. And listen, I want to start by there's a quote that I read that I thought was really good, and it was really relevant to what I've been kind of experiencing myself and what I've been talking about. So it reads, "You cannot escape the responsibility of tomorrow by evading it today." That is by Abraham Lincoln. You cannot escape the responsibility of tomorrow by evading it today. So what does that mean? So I had to go on a trip recently, and it was a trip that I knew about, but I didn't do what I needed to do about it. And so if you know anything about the airlines and flights, baby, we do not have pandemic prices no more. Like, we are no longer in quarantine airline prices where you can get $20 for a round trip, right? So waiting and finally getting the tickets, knowing that it's something that needed to be done, but not actually doing it when it came to mind and when I needed to get it done, it cost me so much more money. I use my Amex because, I get points, for flying Delta on there. But just the fact of, because I did not do what needed to be done ahead of time, like the quote said, evading the responsibility for tomorrow. And as a result, it cost me more money. It cost me more stress. It cost me more anxiety instead of just doing what I knew needed to be done. So what does this fall under today? Today, I want to talk about procrastination and also how our procrastination is affecting our self-confidence, how procrastination affects self-confidence, right? So check it. With procrastination, there's another quote that I like. I'm a quotes girl. I like quotes. And one thing about me is, baby, if I didn't say it, I'ma say I didn't say it, okay? So this quote is not by me either. It's by Noel Hancock. It says, "Procrastination is the lazy cousin of fear. When we feel anxious around an activity, we postpone it." When we feel anxious around an activity, we postpone it. So when it came to the flight, I didn't really feel so much anxious about that while I was postponing it. I think for me, it was more so it didn't seem as important at the time. But when I read this quote, when I think about how it relates to my self-confidence, I can say that has been true, right? It's been true that an underlying thought process could be the fear of doing that task or the fear of getting it done. So I dug a little deeper about procrastination, and really it ties back to an emotional trigger, right? An emotional trigger. Now, why is that? Because of course it starts in our brain, right? In our minds. And even though we like to think, or we like to feel like we make decisions very rationally and we use our logical senses and everything like that, a lot of times the truth of the matter is we do most of what we do based on our emotions. Come on, ladies, queens, where y'all at? Come on. Y'all know how we do sometimes. We definitely lead with our emotions, right? And our emotions get the best of us, and it kind of dictates how we operate. And one of my coaches used to always say, don't let the way that you feel affect the way that you flow. And so a lot of times we're legit leading with our own internal emotions and feelings. And so because our brain is designed to keep us safe, right? It's designed to protect us, to keep us out of the way of danger, keep us from humiliating ourselves. When these emotions are elicited, right? Or when these emotions begin to come up, it's like we're signaling our brain that something is wrong and something is off. And so immediately it's like procrastination and fear, it becomes a defense mechanism. But the dangerous thing about us creating this defense mechanism is the irony in the situation. We're doing it in a way to try to keep us safe, but really it's causing us more danger, right? Because then it begins to affect our emotions, right? Anxiety, it bothers our health, right? We have too much anxiety around it. We have health problems. This is for chronic procrastination. Some people have procrastination as a chronic issue. We all procrastinate in some way or another, but some of us a little more than others, and it causes a chronic issue. So I had to think about me, and I posted something on my social media a while back, and I said that procrastination, this was my definition for me, right? But I'll tell you another side of it. I said procrastination is the arrogant assumption that we have more time, or that God owes us more time to do what he's already told us to do. So this is in relationship to like our purpose, our calling, our destiny, things he's told us to do and commanded us to do. Because when I look at procrastination, yes, we can do things as small as like, well, I procrastinated buying my plane ticket. Now it cost me too much. Yeah, that's cool. But what about when I'm procrastinating doing something that he's told me directly to do, like go and speak to someone, go and minister to somebody, go give a certain word of encouragement, or go speak a certain thing, or create a certain program, or put out a particular piece of content in that moment, and me procrastinating either, because I don't feel like doing it, it's not important to me, I'm afraid to do it, I'm hesitant to do it. Like, you have to identify why are you procrastinating. And when I say that it's an arrogant assumption that God owes us more time to do what he's already told us to do. Now, of course, initially we're not like, well, God, you owe me time, so I'm going to wait. I'm going to do it when I feel like it. No, nobody's deliberately like that. At least I would hope not. But we're not like deliberately not doing it, right? But still, in a way, we honestly feel like I'm going to do it later. So even entertaining the thought that I have a later to do it is making an assumption that God is going to give me more time to do it. And he's going to give it to me because he owed me more time. Like, the day's not over, the year's not over, the week's not over, my life's not over. So he's going to give me more time anyway. So in my mind, for me, in a way that helps me overcome it, it's like, okay, Des, when you say it like that, that's like scary to think about. It's scary for me to think that I have an arrogant assumption that God owes me more time. So it kind of puts me in the mind frame of, okay, Des, do it. There's been times when there are certain things that God has told me to do with my business or in my business, and I just didn't do it. Like, I either was afraid, or I just kept putting it off, or I didn't know where to start, so I didn't start at all. And a lot of times that will freeze us, right? We will overthink it and then underproduce, right? And here's one of the worst feelings is when you know that something was divinely given to you. Maybe you didn't tell anybody about it. You didn't discuss it. So nobody stole it from you. Something was divinely spoken to you or told for you to do, or you felt that leading, that impression that you should do something, right? And you don't do it, right? You kind of wait, or you're like, well, I got to do this first, or I got to make sure I got this together. I'll do it later. And then you see someone else kind of doing the same thing or something similar. And it's like, I was going to do that. I look at it like this. I say, God put something in you that you were sleeping on. So he woke someone else up and had them execute on it. He gave it to you and you were sleeping on it. We always talk about everyone else that's sleeping on it. So they sleeping on me, but they finna wake up. No, boo. No, actually, we're sleeping on ourselves. Actually, you are sleeping on you. And so sometimes God will allow someone else, and he'll raise someone else up to do what you were supposed to do in the first place. Right? And I know that goes against the concept of you have an assignment that only you can do. That is true. But if it is something that is put in this earth for people to serve people or help people, it can't not get done. Double negative. It can't not get done. So if we don't decide to do it, if you don't decide to do what you're supposed to do and step out of your procrastination, God will raise someone else up and allow them to do it. We've seen this time and time in the Bible where he raised up deliverers, right? To come and deliver his people. I mean, it's not like there was no one there, but God chose specific people to do certain jobs. But at the end of the day, we can think about, all right, let's give Moses an example. And God told Moses, spoke to him to go and do a particular thing, go speak to Pharaoh. And Moses came with all these excuses. Well, I'm slow of speech. Well, that's us. Like, we're always like, but God, but what about this? But I don't know this, but I can't, but they. And so he was like, I'll send Aaron with you. Like, it got to get done. It's going to get done one way or another. So it's like, we can either do it the easy way and overcome our procrastination, or at least get better in it, or we can do it the hard way. And sometimes our hard way is watching other people go before us and do what we know we're supposed to be doing while we're sitting back, still procrastinating, still trying to gather ourselves together, still trying to get it done instead of just doing it. Now, on the contrary, well, I won't say on the contrary, in addition to that reason, the arrogant assumption that God owes us more time to do what he's already told us to do, because we think we have more time on this earth, because as if we're in charge of the time clock, we're like, I've got time to do it, right? My mentor reached out to me when I posted that one. My mentor's name was like, let me offer you another alternative. And they said, this is just something for you to entertain. And I don't want to misquote what they said. So let me find it. So they said, or could it be that anxiety that causes us to overthink and make us freeze? So in addition to the arrogant assumption, could it be that the anxiety causes us to overthink and make us freeze? You have to be able to determine that for yourself. I don't know. I don't know. For me, I could say this anxiety, but for me, I know I feel like I got more time, or I'm just going to put it off till I feel like I'm ready to do it. And not in like a arrogant way, but in I don't think I'm ready yet. But it's still the assumption, I got more time. I don't think I'm ready right now. I'll do it later, as if I have later. But then also, like my mentor said, it's the anxiety that's causing you to overthink and freeze. So regardless of which one of the two it is for you, I'd look at it like this. Either way, whatever reason it is, now we're going on a deeper level. This isn't just surface, like buying the plane ticket. That's procrastination. But even on a deeper level, when it's things that you are purposed to do, because I firmly believe that our lives are called to serve people in some kind of capacity. If you sell jewelry or bracelets or cookware, I don't care. You're called on this earth to do something that serves people, right? And the way we express our purpose is through these things like jobs and opportunities and things of that nature. The jobs and what we're doing isn't our purpose, right? That's not the purpose. That's just a vehicle that we express it, but that's another conversation. But I feel like when it comes to procrastination, I want us to look more introspectively, because I know a lot of women, I coach them, I speak with them, I mentor them, I teach them that their procrastination has to do with the things that God has called them to do, or the things that they're purposed to do in this world, or the expressions of those things, whether it's creating that content for social media, whether it's putting your business out for promotion to draw the correct clients and customers to your business that you're called to serve, right? I don't think calling is just, this like church aspect, or you're in a building and a microphone and a platform. No, like your calling is how you're operating and functioning and carrying that out in everyday life, even if it's on a 9-to-5 job, right? And so with the whole procrastination thing, whether it's that arrogant assumption that there's more time or the anxiety that's causing you to freeze, either way, if it's something you've been deliberately told or given or instructed or influenced or pushed, it's delayed disobedience. I mean, like either way we put it, we can chop it up, make it sound real warm and fuzzy and less intimidating. But at the end of the day, we have to accept the fact that it's delayed disobedience. And the sooner we are able to address our delayed disobedience, the sooner we can get down that road and down that path of cultivating stronger confidence. Because truth of the matter, the procrastination is eating away at the confidence, right? Because it becomes a cycle and a loop. The more we procrastinate, sometimes we feel like we don't even have control anymore. I don't know if you've been there, but I've been to the point to where I procrastinated like so much to where I wasn't even confident if I was able to do it anymore, or if I was capable of doing it. And so now the procrastination has eaten away at my self-confidence and my ability to do it. Even if it's something so simple, again, I'm a creative, and those who are creators, putting out your work for the world to see, because we fear the criticism of that work, right? We fear the way people will look at it, how they'll receive it, if they'll understand it, if they'll reject it. And so we procrastinate. And that goes into perfectionism. We may do an entirely new episode just on perfectionism, but all that ties in it. And so look what the procrastination can be costing us. And you have to look at, what is the cost of this behavior? What is the cost of this mindset that's become a behavior pattern? Am I missing opportunities? Initially, I'm absolutely self-sabotaging, We can't blame other people for our procrastination, things that we don't get done in a timely manner, that we don't execute on. That becomes our self-sabotage, and that causes us to miss opportunities. It can affect our work, right? It can affect the opportunities that we are given. It can even affect our health, because now that anxiety, prolonged time or over time, begins to deteriorate our bodies, deteriorate our minds. So procrastination isn't just as simple as, oh, I waited too late to buy my plane ticket. That can spill over into greater things and deeper things, even into, like, if you're working a 9 to 5 on your job, what is it costing you when you're procrastinating on your job? Your performance reviews, your pay, right? Your evaluations, the people that you're supposed to be helping and serving, right? So, what are some of the reasons, or some of the reasons that we procrastinate, or things that we procrastinate on? So, jotted down some notes. So, tasks that you've never done before. Have you ever found yourself procrastinating something that you've never done before? Right? You're not just like all in, like, ooh, I can't wait to start this new project or start this new thing that I know absolutely nothing about, that I've never done before, right? So doing something new. And then, as we mentioned before, doing something that is going to be judged by other people. Maybe not directly like a competition, but judged as in, once you put something out there, it's subject for people to scrutinize it, for them to have opinions, right? I'm a social media content creator, influencer. Every piece of content I put out, it risks being judged. It risks being looked at crazy or not understood. That's a risk that we take by putting out what we're supposed to do, or doing whatever it is, even if it's a skill set or a gift or whatever. And then also, it can spiral so much, right, that you start to believe that you can't do anything right. I read that how it will begin to spiral, and you'll begin to second guess yourself in the areas that you are confident in. Baby, this is the Code of Confidence podcast, or we have, come on, you know the rest, uncomfortable conversations around confidence. Yeah, the other week, like, I don't know what it was, but there was something about me. I sat down to do a task, and I felt like it took me days to do something that normally takes me minutes. I didn't know what it was. Like, it was consuming me, and it started affecting my self-confidence and my ability to even believe in my capabilities again, if I could even do it. I'm like, maybe I just can't do it. And I know good and well that I can, but I kept putting it off, procrastinating. If you ever find yourself in that situation or in that season, I want to help us and give us some tools that can, help us deal with that. First, you got to ask yourself, remember we talked about how it's associated with emotions. Sometimes it elicits a negative emotion. Ask yourself, what is the negative emotion I'm experiencing, and what's the root of it? Sometimes certain things remind us of unpleasant tasks or unpleasant people or unpleasant experiences. So sometimes it's evoking that negative emotion based on something that we've not even acknowledged, right? It could be something that we forgot, but whenever we have to do this task or do this job, it reminds us of that, right? All right, I can remember sometimes being at my job and having to do certain things or make certain phone calls, and I didn't want to do it, and I realized it reminded me of something else. Like, it reminded me of something that I didn't like, or something that happened to me that wasn't a good memory, a good pleasant experience. And that's why I procrastinated on it. But we'll never know the root of our procrastination until we ask ourselves, until we actually dig deep, right? I always talk about being self-reflective. We got to self-reflect and say, dang, why am I procrastinating this? Listen, there could be a number of reasons. Maybe fear is not the reason. Maybe none of these, maybe low self-confidence is not the reason. Maybe it's something like, it's just not important to you. Is it something that you just don't deem as important? Could it be something that you're not competent in? Like, maybe you don't have enough information on it. You don't have all the facts to be able to do it. So in the back of your mind, you keep putting it off. Is it something that you shouldn't be doing to begin with? Right? You got to ask yourself. Sometimes that could be it. It could be something that you really shouldn't even be worrying about or should be trying to do, but you're trying to force yourself to do it. And as a result, you're procrastinating. But this is a self-reflection that we have to do within ourselves to find what's that root of our procrastination. Where's this negative emotion that's tied to this coming from? Why do I not want to do this? You got to start with that. All right. So once we've kind of asked ourselves, why we feel this way. What is this emotion that we're feeling that's attached itself to this task or this project? You gotta give yourself a timeline. So if you know now there's something that has to be done or that you really need to do, give yourself a timeline. Like, give yourself, okay, I need to get this done within this amount of time. And then give yourself reward and punishment. And I hate to use punishment because it sounds so bad. So pick another synonym. Google some synonyms that you'd rather use that doesn't sound so, I don't know, negative. But for me, I reward and punishment. So punishment, apart from what's going to happen anyway if I don't get it done, like by the ticketing time and the cost going up, what is another punishment or what is another result that I don't want to say inflict, but I can put on myself to say, okay, Des, if you don't do this, we're not going to do this. If you don't get this done by this time, we're not going out. We're not going shopping. I'm not much of a shopper anyway, but just hypothetically speaking, if it were you, I'm not going to go shopping today, or I'm not going to watch TV, or no, I'm not going to, go get ice cream. I don't know. What is that thing that you can impose on yourself and say, okay, here's my timeline. This is my outcome, my result if I don't get it done. And then let's say you do get it done, or you make progress to getting it done more than what you normally do. Give yourself rewards, right? Like, we have to find those intrinsic motivations to do it. And if we can't find it intrinsically, meaning internally within ourselves, it's okay with having external rewards. Maybe your reward is, girl, I'm finna ball out and go get some ice cream if I do this. Associate something positive to that task, because now we've associated with that negative emotion. So whenever it comes up, the negativity comes up, and we're going to keep avoiding it. And it's going to keep becoming this constant cycle and loop of our self-confidence, our procrastination, our self-confidence, our procrastination. Versus if you now do positive reinforcement, so we'll call it that negative and positive reinforcement. If you do the positive reinforcement, if I get this done, if I make an effort, if I take that first step and that first move, however you want to measure your growth or progress, what is the result that's going to positively happen that I can attach that to, right? So now every time I think about sitting down and typing out this content or batching this content or writing this paper or paying these bills or organizing these files or whatever that may be for you, I'm associated with something positive. Ooh, I remember I go get my nails in after I do this. Or, after I do this, I'll go get my hair done. After this, I'll go get some ice cream. I'll go, go get a latte. I don't know, girl, whatever you like, not me. But you got to find what is that thing. And now you've associated that positive thing to something that was seemingly negative. So it kind of gives you more drive and more motivation to do it. I don't know. That's just me. But you got to find what works for you. And especially when we're talking about things that we're called to do. So you've got the things that you're called and purpose to do that we talked about, just a recap. And then you got those everyday things that you have to do, the mundane things of life, right? The bills, the organization, the scheduling, the batching of our content, whatever those mundane things are. Organize those. Okay, what's the root of not wanting to do it? Do I not know enough? Do I need more information? Is it not important to me? Am I afraid? What is a procrastination on that? And now what systems am I going to set in place? Let me practice, time management. Not that you don't necessarily have a time management issue either when you have procrastination. Sometimes people try to tie it together and say, if you're a procrastinator, it's because you have bad time management. That's not always the case, right? So we're not going to put that on you. But I got to tell myself, what timeline am I going to give myself? What is my positive and negative reinforcement? And what is that root of why I don't want to do it to begin with? And I want to challenge us, because when we don't step out and do those things that we need to do, those hard things, we can't become better, right? We can't grow staying in our comfort zones. And sometimes procrastination is a comfort zone. It's comfortable. It's comfortable. And we have to get uncomfortable and continue to make ourselves uncomfortable. So what's the quotes that we talked about? Abraham Lincoln said, Abe said, you cannot escape the responsibility of tomorrow by evading it today. And then Noel Hancock, procrastination is the lazy cousin of fear. When we feel anxiety around an activity, we postpone it. Let's tackle it. Let's address it head on. This has been another episode of the Code of Confidence podcast. I'm so excited that you tuned in. Listen, stay connected every Monday. It's dropping every Monday morning at 8 o'clock a.m. We're talking about encouraging, candid, and uncomfortable conversation around confidence. And I want to hear your feedback. So please subscribe, like, share. Baby, we've got some listeners in other countries. Shout out to you guys. I was looking at the stats. We got some in Asia, Europe. So I'm excited. Welcome to the queendom. Welcome to the family. I love to hear your feedback. And what do you do to overcome procrastination? Because help your girl out. Because I gave you my tips, okay? But sometimes I still deal with it as well, as we all do. So drop some feedback and let me know what you think and what you can do to help someone else who may be reading these comments, and share this with somebody else. I'm Destiny Inspire, the confidence queen, and you have been listening to the Code of Confidence podcast. Bye. If you have any questions or topics that you would like to submit to the Code of Confidence podcast, text me at 404-609-1117. That's 404-609-1117. Text me your thoughts, text me your feedback, and also just text me what topics you would like to cover next. Talk to you soon.